From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Louie Butko.
Yes, it is Ticats Today for a Wednesday, August the 17th, 2022. Thanks for checking us out on the Ticats Audio Network. Louie Butko here with you, and our apologies right off the top, because I owe it to you, dear listener. You have come to expect this show every day at 4 o'clock, and today I did not deliver. So my sincere apologies, but we ran into some serious technical issues when it comes to our scrums. And so despite our best efforts, and I truly mean this, Jack the intern does a very great job every single day getting us our scrum audio and video that we come to expect, but we ran into some unforeseen technical issues today. So no scrum, so unfortunately we won't hear from Coach O. We won't hear from Mike Johnson, two guys we spoke to today, but we will make sure we're back and figure out the issue for tomorrow's show to get you the audio you have come to expect here on Ticats Today. So again, sincere apologies on that. But coming up on today's show, we will be joined by Luke Tasker. So when you think about it, you know, Luke Tasker is a pretty great guest to have on in the best of times, especially when we don't have any audio from practice. So we'll get to all that coming up on today's show. I have the injury report in my hand, and we'll get to that as well. Of course, all of this leading up to Saturday's game, Ticats taking on the Alouettes in Montreal. It is a 4 o'clock kickoff. Keep that in mind. So that means we'll be on the air with our pregame coverage right here on the Ticats Audio Network starting at 3 o'clock. As Bubba O'Neill will be joined by Mike Daly this week. That's because Andy Fantuz joining RJ Broadhead in the booth for the play-by-play. That starts at 4 o'clock. And again, as every game day starts, you can check it out on the Ticats Audio Network with a brand new episode of Tiger Cats Game Day with Courtney Stephen and Mike Daly. So make sure you subscribe, you like, so you never miss an episode of this show or any of the other great shows here for you, including a brand new episode of Speaking with the Enemy. I had a chance to catch up with Sean Campbell, and you can hear that conversation. Should be posted right about by the time you're listening to this. So hopefully, if you're looking for it, Ticats Audio Network is where you can find it. Ticats fans, it's time to ride on our strength. From now until October 13th, purchase 4 eligible Hercules passenger or light truck tires to receive a $100 Ticats rewards card and be entered to win our road trip sweepstakes. Available at participating Active Green and Ross, Ontario locations, or visit HerculesTires.com/AGR rewards. All right, still ahead in just a second. We're going to be joined by Luke Tasker, former Ticats Audio Network analyst. But right now, while we have you, let's check out the Ticats injury report. And you may have seen Dave Naylor yesterday was reporting that Dane Evans missed practice. You know, I can confirm that. The injury report confirms that as well. He did not practice. I asked Coach about it. Naylor's report seemed to indicate that he was day-to-day. That's kind of the word we got back from Coach. He said that's pretty accurate. The day-to-day status, questionable likely for Friday, but we'll keep our eye on that. But good news, he was limited at practice today. He was one player who did not practice, who was back. Malik Carney was back out there as a full participant. He didn't practice yesterday, but was back out there today. Anthony Federico, he's dealing with a head injury. He did not practice. This one hurts. Simone Lawrence did not practice for the second day in a row. Jamal Roll did not practice for the second day in a row. Seontae Evans did not practice for the second day in a row. So 2 guys in the secondary. Alden Darby was a healthy scratch. He was a full participant for the second day in a row. That's good, especially if you consider the fact that Seontae and Jamal are both out. Great to have an option like Alden Darby to go to, and it looks like that's what it'll look like. Bailey Feltmate did not practice. He's dealing with a quad injury. And Kyle Wilson, who missed last week, he was a full participant. Pappy White, he's been on the 6-game injured list. This is week 5 of that. So he is allowed back to practice without being taken off the 6-game injured list. He was a full participant today, but likely we will not see him this week because he's still on the 6-game injured list. But the rules around the injured list, just for clarification, in case you didn't know, if you were on the 6-game injured list, you are allowed practicing at week 5, so that you are in shape, I guess, when week 6 rolls around, that you are available to rejoin the lineup. So good to see Pappy White back out there. Won't see him this week, very likely, as he remains on the 6-game injured list. All right, I'm very pleased now to be joined by my good friend Luke Tasker. It's Ticats Audio Network analyst, a former Ticat himself. And Luke, put your player hat on for me to start here. You win a big game at home on Friday. How do you keep that momentum going during the week?
It starts kind of with like just a deep breath of like fresh air. Like, man, finally, like we can do it. Like, we know, we proved to ourselves, everybody else can believe now. We can do it. We can finish these games off the right way. And it's a monkey off your back. It really feels that way. And you can start to recognize those times in the games where early in the season, that snowball was starting to drift down the side of the mountain in the third and fourth quarter. And it was like, oh no, and now you can kind of say, hey, we've been here before, and we can figure these things out late in the game. We can put points on the board late in the game. And, we can air the ball out and throw it deep and take our shots. And, across the board, you've heard with all the content this week from Coach and with your show, Louie, and it's just complimentary football, and all three phases can kind of gain a little bit of confidence. And that's what it is, man. It's success and confidence. They build alongside of each other.
Who needed the best kind of bounce back performance? Was it special teams? Was it seeing the offense? I mean, all three elements were great. You mentioned it, complimentary football, but it seemed like someone needed to step up, and they all did.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of putting it. And I think if you look at each unit, offensively, it's been the whole season. People have been waiting for that offensive unit to finish a game, right? And so they came around and did that in a very, very big way. On the special teams side, it was just the last 2 weeks. But prior to that Toronto game, where you're saying, well, you got, the special teams unit needs to get back to their excellence in coverage, excellence in return game. Of course, Lawrence Woods was spectacular, but that goes along with all the return unit. I mean, those guys were out there working, and a 25-yard average return after having gotten a long one called back is just an unbelievable number. So great job by that special teams unit. And then the defense, with their pressure and their aggressiveness in the defensive secondary. I don't know if the defense, you'd really say, had to earn that, or like, I don't know if we were all just like sitting here saying, the defense needs to have a great game. They've been playing pretty well. And if they've had a deficiency here and there in one game or another, they've also had a lot of strong suits. But they continued on that pathway, and really all three phases put together an amazing game, but especially second half, fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I go back to, after the touchdown, the defense comes, and then the very first play of the series, Micah Johnson gets that big sack to set Toronto back. Can you talk about what it means on the sidelines for the offense that, you go out there, you have a long drive that converts with a touchdown, and then you go out and you see your defense make a play the very next play? What does that do for an offense on the sidelines?
That's exactly right, Louie. And we were talking about it in the broadcast, and like it is that starts to build across the phases. You really can feed off of each other. And I think Micah Johnson has kind of stepped up in the last couple of weeks here. I mean, we've been calling his name out a lot more in the broadcasting booth, and he's had some sacks that have been just huge and at crucial moments. But it is a great feeling when you string a long drive together, and then your defense goes out there and gets the opposing offense off the field quickly. The game really, it starts to feel like things are really, really going in your favor there, especially when then you get set up by an amazing punt return, which pretty much happened almost every single time that Lawrence Woods was able to touch the ball in the return setting in the game. So, I mean, that momentum and that ability for the offense to put something together and then only a few minutes later go out and get another chance. It is addictive. That's what you want as a player.
Put your receiver hat on for a second. Tim White, the week before had one catch for 6 yards. The week before that, 2 catches. When you're kind of having that, and I don't want to say slump, but hadn't scored a touchdown since week 6, what does it play like the one Tim made that led to the touchdown that eventually set up the game winner, right? What does that do for a receiver to make that play and feel like you got off this, schneid, so to say?
I think it's huge. And it's one thing if Tim White goes down the field and just makes the catch, because it was contested. It was kind of, messy at the point of impact with the ball, but he didn't just make the catch. He was able to almost one hand that against his body and have the athleticism and awareness to stay on his feet and spin away from it and run the extra yards into the end zone. Like I was just very, very impressed with his ability to make that play. He's obviously a guy that Tommy Condell wants to get the ball, and Tim White gets it in any way you can, including handoffs. But the last couple of weeks, for whatever reason, has been quiet. And prior to Braylon Addison's injury, Braylon was taking a lot of the workload as he should. And for whatever reason, Tim White wasn't as productive in those last two games. And so I remember spells like that in my career, and that big play that sort of that brought him back after that dry spell. There was no doubt in his mind. He went out there and he made the play as if that was his seventh catch for the game. And it just is a testament. And it's a spectacular thing to see as a receiver. I just know that he must be feeling like, that's me. That's what I have to offer. And he's got to be really proud of the fact that he was able to do that kind of, in a sense, out of nowhere. And at such a crucial time in the game. I mean, Matt Schultz to throw that pass after all the adversity that he was dealing with in that game due to injury. I mean, and to throw that down the field, and then for Tim White just to make a spectacular play. That's big time, man. That's a big time play. And it's what this team is sort of moving in a direction towards.
Now, according to Dave Naylor, Dane Evans is day to day. But Matthew Schultz looked real formidable in there. The numbers aren't going to jump off the page at you, but what does it mean to have a competent backup? Coaches talked about it. This is why you went out and you got a guy like Matthew Schultz, highly sought after as a backup quarterback in the offseason. But what's your confidence level in Schultz for however long it's going to take Dane to get healthy?
Yeah. You're exactly right. This is why you do that in the offseason, because most guys aren't going to be able to play 18 games, straight through. I remember Hank Burris playing, I think 18 games, and he was like 55 years old. Like it was nuts. And some guys have that ability to stay healthy, but it's really, really hard to do. And in most cases, even an outright starter is going to have to take a little time off. I think Matt Schultz, you really could not ask for more from him. Of course, he's going to identify that interception as something he'd want back, and rightly so. But it really was a kind of unique and a great play by that defender for Toronto. I just think he went in there and managed very well. And actually, after that interception, how often have we seen a second string quarterback come in, make that mistake, and then things really start going wrong? Then they start saying, well, I have to make up for that. And I have to definitely have to make this next completion. I have to force this ball in there. I didn't recognize that from Matt Schultz. Like the quarterbacks have to be cool-headed, level-headed, and think clearly after a touchdown pass or after an interception, and I think he's got the savviness and just the skill set to do that.
Yeah, and I think he's got a chill factor to him too. Having been around him, and especially getting to talk to him a little bit more with Dane out and him kind of taking the lead. There is something to be said about a chill factor, isn't there? Like water off the back almost. He seems to have that attitude.
I agree. Like real cool. He's got the hair coming out of the helmet.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's it too. Maybe I just associate that flow with chillness, but
yeah,
he does present that confidence that.
It's authentic. Yeah, I agree. And he's like, isn't it Sonny from Remember the Titans? Remember that quarterback with like the long hair? Yeah, he just cool, man. That's what you need. Like if you're high strung at quarterback, oh, man, you got to be, if you're not perfect, then the whole glass castle comes falling down. And he's got that. He's kind of seems to me like more of a gamer where he can really ebb and flow and really stay involved. And that's what I mean. In the fourth quarter, he was still right in there in the mix, doing what he was going to have to do to win the game. And like Coach Osh said earlier this week in our show, he's, it wasn't just a great fourth quarter, but they've gone into fourth quarters with the lead. In this case, they had to score points. Like, they had to make it happen. And so the feeling may have been a little bit different. And I think Matt Schultz handled it very well.
You know what? And we haven't even gotten to Seth Small, who was great. Dom Gala. I mean, we talked about special teams, but I think you and I could probably talk for a long time about what those guys are doing, and I'm sure we could talk even more about the different kinds of quarterbacks that you can have on a football team. But I know you're a busy guy, Luke, so I'll let you go, and I'll encourage everybody to check out your episode of the Coach O Show, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, buddy.
Louie, talk to you soon, man. Thanks.
My thanks to Luke Tasker for joining me today, former Ticat, Ticats Audio Network analyst, and did you know, pretty great real estate agent in Buffalo. So if you're ever looking for property in Western New York on the other side of the Niagara River, Luke Tasker is your guy. Check him out at Hunt Realty. He does a great job for us. He does a great job for them, and he's a great buddy, and I always love having him on the show. And I'm not gonna lie. And again, off the top, I told you, interest of full disclosure, I have not seen Luke as much as I have last season. Just because you may have noticed, I don't do Ticats pregame anymore, so I happen to be working the other job when I do that. So it was great to connect with Luke on Twitter, on Zoom today, or on Riverside, which is the program we use, and would love to see him in person, and would love to see you in person. And I will let you know, I will be at a game at Labor Day. Very much looking forward to being there and seeing all the great fans and celebrating the atmosphere that we've come to expect at Tim Hortons Field. All right, that'll do it for us today from day 2 of practice. We're back tomorrow as the Ticats hold their final practice ahead of the big game on Saturday. That's when they take on the Montreal Alouettes. So looking forward to that. And hopefully you'll join us all throughout the week here on the Ticats Audio Network. All right, before I go, I got to remind you that Ticats fans, it's time to ride on our strength. From now until October 13th, purchase 4 eligible Hercules passenger or light truck tires to receive a $100 Ticats rewards card and be entered to win our road trip sweepstakes. Available at participating Active, Green, and Ross and Ontario locations, or visit HerculesTires.com/AGR rewards. That'll do it for us. We are back tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on the Ticats Audio Network. I'm Louie Butko, hoping you have a great day.
Ticats Today can be heard every weekday, and we would like to hear from you. Email us at gameday@ticats.ca. Have a question or an opinion? We want to hear it. That's gameday@ticats.ca. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.